Hi, I'm Dennis Phillips, and welcome to Everyday Reloading and Shooting.
All right, so I looked back over a record of some of my previous best loads, and one of them was using accurate 2460 powder with 22.7 grains for the charge weight. I'm using a 73 grain ELD-Match bullet. Now, those best loads were out of a Ruger American, and typically a best load will be something that groups around 3/4 of an inch or less, and usually a best 4 out of 5 in the half-inch zone. So that's what this would have been with the Ruger American, but we're going to see how it performs with the Ruger AR-556. And this is my setup. I've had trouble getting the height and all adjusted. So I have the Caldwell front and rear bag, and then I have a sock stuffed with rice turned inside out and secured. And I have that on my front and rear, and that is to elevate the stock, because otherwise without that I'm too close to the bench, and this gives me a more comfortable shooting position. All right, so enough for that. And we have 10 round magazines that we'll be shooting, all loaded with the 22.7 grains of accurate 2460 powder. But here's my 73 grain ELD-Match. All right, let's get going. We'll be shooting 10 groups at 25 yards. All right, so let's send them down and see how they do. All right, I think these all did well. Let's bring them in and have a look. That last one was actually at 35 yards. I hit 35 by mistake. It should have been 25. That's why I had trouble seeing it. All right, so I did have a cold barrel group that I fired first. That was reasonably tight right here, 4 out of 5 there with one flyer there. And then I guess the barrel was still a little cold. Because we had a flyer here, but these were all tight. These were pretty tight with a flyer, pretty tight with a flyer, pretty tight, very tight, very tight, extremely tight. That's probably my tightest group, either that or that. Pretty tight here. The problem here was when I sent the target down, instead of sending it to 25 yards, I sent it to 35 yards. And I thought those dots were a little harder to see, but that would explain why these are all shooting high, because that was shot at 35 yards. All right, so let's take them home, measure them, and see how we compare. So here's the latest installment from my efforts to try to get my AR to shoot 1-inch groups at 25 yards. And in this video, I'm using accurate 2460 powder, 22.7 grains of powder with the 73 grain ELD-Match bullet. As mentioned, this load has worked well previously, and I've written this down as one of my better loads. And so I'm getting this refined. Here's a picture of my setup and how I'm currently set for my shooting posture. And as you can see, I've got the rifle stabilized on my Caldwell front and rear bag. I've added 2 additional bags to each of these to elevate the rifle somewhat. These are 2 socks that I've filled with rice for this purpose, in order to elevate the rifle to make my shooting position a little more comfortable. Okay, so we're just under 2,800 feet per second in velocity, and the center of each square is my point of aim. Now, I did start out with a barrel warming group, which I shot right here. I shot this group first before I started on my targets. So I had a 0.86 extreme spread and a 0.47 best out of 5. So that was pretty good there. Very pleased with that. So in my shooting, the first shot, I had a flyer here, which made the group size. This is not exactly a cold barrel shot, but it's my second group of 5, so it's still a little cold. But I had an extreme spread here of 1.28. And the best 4 out of 5 grouped really tight right here inside the black at 0.54. My second group was at 0.79 with the best 4 out of 5 at 0.41. So that row averaged a 104 extreme spread and 0.48 on the best 4 out of 5. You drop down to the second row, and these continue to be pretty tight with a 0.57 extreme spread and a 0.48 best 4 out of 5. Still shooting a little bit high, shooting from the middle up. The second group there was 0.78 with a best 4 out of 5 at 0.35 and a row average of 0.68 and 0.42. So I decided to adjust the rifle scope 1 click down to get it more centered with my point of aim. Still shooting a little bit to the right there, but I got a group of 0.64 with the best 4 out of 5 at 0.44. And on my second group, I had a group of 0.53 with the best 4 out of 5 at 0.27. So really tight there. Very pleased with that. A row average of 0.59 and a best 4 out of 5 at 0.36. Dropping down to the fourth row, the first group was an extreme spread of 0.57. And the best 4 out of 5 at 0.45, again, all inside the black. And my second group was at 0.82 with my best 4 out of 5 at 0.55. And I had a row average of 0.70 and a best 4 out of 5 at 0.50. Now, if you look at this photo here, you can see a difference between the groups here and the group here, because on these last 2, I accidentally sent the target to 35 yards by mistake. So I'm not going to average my 35-yard groups with my 25-yard groups. Those definitely shot higher because they're at a further distance, but those shot at 1.37 with a best 4 out of 5 at 0.92 and 1.30 again with a best 4 out of 5 at 0.87. So a little bit off on that, but again, that's at 35 yards. So the total average on these 8 groups at 25 yards, I had an extreme average of 0.75 and a best 4 out of 5 at 0.44. So we have gotten our average under an inch. I will probably continue practicing with these, but I would like to say that I definitely recommend this load for your AR. Accurate 2460 at 22.7 grains with a 73 grain ELD-Match bullet. So very pleased overall with the outcome of this outing at the range, and I will continue to shoot this load. So if you have any ideas or thoughts about this video, please feel free to leave a comment below. Or if there's anything that you would like to see in the future, please let me know that. I always try to interact with everyone who comments, and I hope that you will like and share this with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.